Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
So, I was hiking the Pacific Coast Trail this last week and well, I'm just going to Greentext it. Be hiking PCT headed south towards Crater Lake near Lake Maidu. As I cut across one of the other trails, a couple of Forest Service guys hike up from the east. One is clearly an LEO, law enforcement officer, in full kit with an AR-10. The other guy isn't Leo, but he's got a rucksack covered in smoke canisters and carrying a huge saw with teeth an inch deep. They ask me how I am and if I'd seen anything odd around. Say I'm hiking the PCT, nothing weird really to note, ask what's up. They say something about a problem bear near one of the upper lakes that they're chasing off with pepper grenades, and to watch out since I'm alone. Shrug, thank them for the info, keep hiking. Set up my camp a mile or so down the trail. A bit after dark, gunshots start to my west. All night, every couple hours I hear gunshots, slowly circling around along the west to the south. Don't get any sleep. A bit before dawn I hear another volley of shots and a horrendous noise to the east. Sounds like a giant pig getting stuck and bleeding out slowly. Noise stops a bit after dawn. Climb out of my tent, start packing. Start hiking south, can smell very bad smoke, half-rotted meat, and copper blowing from the south. The two Forest Service guys wander up from east. Leo's pack is significantly lighter. The guy with the saw has one smoke grenade left, and the saw is covered with some kind of black stuff. Ask what the fuck was going on. The guy with the saw just gives me a shit-eating grin and says,
"A bear."
Leo nods in affirmation and adds,
"It was just a bear. Don't worry about it, it's gone."
They are giving no fucks about the smell or the black shit on the saw that looks like it's smoldering, ask if I need anything, and wish me luck on my hike. Can't get any good sleep for the rest of my trip, get home last night, realize my camera's just up and gone.
You can call it weird, but once my uncle was literally hunted by a madman in the woods. This may take a bit since I'm writing this down as I can recall it and don't have it typed out beforehand. Not many people realize this, but there's a lot of fucking crazy hermits out in the woods of New England. They live deep, and I mean deep in the forest to the point that not even wildlife rangers know about them, or simply they're too scared to deal with them. They're usually nomadic and have caches stored around, patrolling wide berths of territory almost like primitive hunter-gatherers of old. They usually go squatting in urban centers in the winter because even they can't handle the winter without shelter. But they're often mistaken for junkies, even though junkies know better than to fuck with a woodsman. Back in 1997, my uncle decides to go deep hiking. What we would call going Innawoods, basically in the White Mountain National Forest in New Hampshire. He's not a stupid man. So he brought with him a .357 S&W with 12 bullets extra, 6 loaded in the chamber to stop any kind of bear or large animal that could try to kill him. It was a 686, I think. Anyways, he goes in a westerly direction from Lincoln and wanted to end up in North Conway. Starts his journey in an inconspicuous spot about 5 minutes down this dirt road. Looks to him like it's the beginning of an old nature trail that nobody's been to in years, because the obvious path is grown over beyond the point of seasonal plants. Perfect for him, because he wants to not be seen by anyone, since what he's doing isn't exactly legal. Starting at the break of dawn, my uncle had almost all the daylight of the first day to head east. Sorry, I meant east. Not west, into the woods, where he gets himself proper Innawoods. It's April, I'm guessing, because it was a cool spring day about in the 50s, he tells me, which isn't uncommon in this part of the country. Perfect for hiking though if you're wearing the right gear. About midday he stops for lunch by a small stream, and everything for the rest of day 1 went fairly normal. Night 1 was a bit chilly, but my uncle was a hard ass who served in Vietnam. Different climate, but he had the whole embrace the suck mentality. I should also mention that my uncle was a firefighter too, so his skills and lifestyle physique played over well in bringing down some dead trees for a decent fire. Fire is very important in deep woods, as that's the only thing that spooks off animals. Animals, of course, not other humans. Day 2 goes well until about 1 p.m. in the afternoon when my uncle notices a baby blue container, tied up on a rope hanging from a branch out in the woods by itself. My uncle's thinking at this point, what the fuck, because this is nowhere near anything but trees. So, he goes over to the container as any curious individual who didn't know any better would do, and finds inside this container what looks to be handmade smoked, salted and dried venison. Probably a good 40 to 50 pounds of the stuff based on his guess. At this point he couldn't figure out why so much preserved meat was suspended from a bear trap out in this part of the woods, since he couldn't smell any smoke and no campsites or even federal wildlife posts were nearby. Night 2 my uncle makes another fire from local deadwood, and gets himself ready for another shitty night out in Innawoods. About 3 a.m. in the morning he hears fast shuffling through dead leaves from his left and rustles only to hear it immediately stop and go into the opposite direction. It wasn't very quiet, almost too clumsy to be wildlife. No more sleep for my uncle that night. Day 3 is uneventful, but thanks to shitty sleep and whatever the fuck happened that night my uncle was tense and almost on the point of mild paranoia. Night 3 brought him little sleep as well, as the previous night's sensation still disturbed him where he couldn't bring himself to rest long without jerking awake. He had to sleep with the revolver in his hand to get any shut-eye. Finally, it was day 4 on the last stretch of the hike that my uncle knew someone was fucking with him at the least, or at the worst trying to rob, kill him. He hears a loud crack around early morning when you can just about see things and the sound of an impact in a tree 25 feet away. Uncle nopes the fuck out of there, leaving most of his food and water behind, firing 6 shots into the direction of the crack. Later in the early evening he gets into North Conway, hides his gun, throws the casings into a nearby river and calls a payphone to get himself picked up. At first, he claimed a bear got too close to him when he was making breakfast and so he had to abandon some of his shit to get away. Only told this story to my dad and I when I turned 21 and got him drunk as fuck. Spooky shit. Don't ever go Innawoods alone is the moral, I guess.
Pikes Peak. Don't know what the god-awful fuck it was, but whatever it was, I couldn't help but feel so outclassed in every way by it. A primal helplessness, something that keeps me huddled in cities since. Be me. Few days after Pikes Peak hill climb. Always go camping then. Don't care that pretty much everything civilized on me is dead. Like the natural feel mixed with the comfort of knowing civilization isn't that far off. Getting towards evening. Everything's set for a small fire. Fire ban's on, but fuck it, there's been plenty of rain, and I've got a nice pit set up. Start burning a few sticks and shit. Spend a couple hours just staring into the fire and alternating at looking at the darkness. Occasional bug noise and shit. Stops after I crack a twig. Start playing a game with myself with the kindling I've got. Red light, green light with fucking bugs. Suddenly I hear a snap that wasn't me. Oh shit, it's the park rangers.jpg. Kick over the fire, ruining my perfect pit, but managing to get most of the fire, only a couple embers. Get up from the chair at this point to better stomp it out. Sit down like nothing happened in pitch darkness, moons covered by a cloud. Fucking still listening. No bugs still. Usually came back pretty fast after I snapped stuff. Grab hatchet for chopping wood. Figure I should hide it to try and keep myself less suspicious. For some reason can't get myself to move. Start thinking it wasn't a park ranger. Breathing heavier. Panicking myself for no reason. Out of fucking nowhere Cloud decides to fuck off. Something with pale skin and a pointed face as arms reach in front of me. Don't even think. Swing the hatchet towards its face. Feel a crunch of some description, at the same time as a growl that almost sounds like a laugh coming from Christian Bale's Batman. Don't even remember how, but I'm on my face a good distance away from my tent now, feeling sore. Still holding the hatchet. Fucking dark glow on it almost looks like. Only can see the blade of the hatchet because I'm holding it in front of me like a fucking sword, vibrating more than my mom's boyfriend. Somehow manage to get myself to stand. Feel warmth spreading out from my groin to my legs. It's easily twice the height of my tent, 8 feet at least. Dark streak running down from one side of its face, down its body. Looks like some sort of stickman-styled human fucked every animal in the area and had a child. Looking right fucking at me still. Not even sure if it had eyes. Still felt like it was staring at me. Couldn't even breathe it felt like. Only movement is my fucking hands that won't stop shaking. It turns and starts to fucking walk away. I can't move for a full minute. Suddenly, as if possessed, I throw all of my shit into my car, broke my tent poles in the process, didn't even tear it down first. Drove until I hit the souvenir shop. Pounded on doors until someone let me in. Some older guy in the park uniform bullshit. I don't even try to explain it to him, just say I need to stay inside. He lets me in, leaves for a bit. Comes back with a shotgun and a box of shells. Starts loading it, cocks it and starts to stare out at the forest. Told me to leave when it was just about an hour before the store opened. The look in his eyes said it clearer than anything, but he spoke anyway.
Don't think about what happened.
I have something. Be me, last summer. Be wanting to complete Stalker challenge. Abandoned cement barge beached on a sandbar on wooded coastline. Seems like the perfect place to camp. Brought a WASR, 2 magazines, all the magazines I had at the time. Was poor. Went to check out this barge, it was pretty sick. There were barnacles growing on some of it, so I assumed that, at high tide, it was partially submerged. It had a cargo hold and an upper deck. There were 2 portholes in the upper deck, with rusty ladders that descended down into the cargo hold. Decided to camp on the beach where the sandbar connects with dry land, because I didn't want to drown in my sleeping bag if high tide completely covered the vessel somehow. Explored the barge just a little more first. Noticed some rusted out metal stuff in a little square pool on the upper deck. Reached down into the water, pulled out a rifle casing. Recognized it as a nugget food casing. Wait till, hears about this. Finally get finished closely examining all the cool old rusted bits of the barge. Valves, moorings, etc. Head over to the beach to make camp. Paced it off, it's 60 or so yards from the barge. Not quite Stalker challenge legal, but safety first, right? What's 10 yards? Make a little fire pit with rocks for shiggles. Put driftwood in it. Whipped out the Zippo, lit her up. Looked at my watch, it was about 4. Pic related kind of shows the shoreline I was camped on. Pic related also shows the part of the upper deck where the barge was split in 2. Anyhow, sitting on the beach, in front of weak ass fire. WASR laying by my side. Pull out a green plastic dollar store harmonica. No idea how to play it, just make noises with it. Start doing the Jaws theme with it, for shiggles. Laugh at my own cleverness. Try to do something like the national anthem. Hear laughter coming from the trees. Stop playing, look over. Hello? Laughter continues, same tone as before. It kind of sounds like me, come to think of it. Begin to smell something kind of metallic. Smell is kind of salty, too. I was camped by the sound, mind you, so it was already a little salty, but this smell was saltier than normal. It's still only 5, not quite sundown. I'm scanning the tree line, but I don't see nothing. Reach for my harmonica to resume playing. Realize the salty, metallic smell kind of resembles blood. In fact, it strongly resembles the smell of blood. Same laugh comes from the woods. Begin to put 2 and 2 together. Chamber around in the WASR. Hello? Sit there, staring at the woods for a long ass time. Nothing. Cook MUH beans on the fire, glancing over at the woods periodically. Just as the sun is going down, hear, hello? Come at me from the woods. That sounds a lot like me. Noped the fuck out of there. JPEG. Packed my sheet in a flash, ran to the barge. Pic related was taken 2 weeks prior, while hiking with a buddy. We spent all of 5 minutes there and continued on our way. Anyways, darted to the barge, leapt inside, frantically climbed up onto upper deck, jumped across the crack onto the bow, went prone, aimed my WASR back out across the sandbar. Eyes golf ball wide, sit like that a while. Check watch periodically. Just as the sun is finishing setting, realize I'm going to want some fire. Go down onto the sandbar, rifle slung and at the ready, gather up a little driftwood. Light a rather weak fire on the deck. Make one last trip just at the beginning of dusk, find some good wood, fire achieves respectable size. Spend the first few hours of the night rifle shouldered, prone, aiming down the sandbar. Remember that several of my relatives suffer various mental illnesses. You probably just hallucinated that shit, Anon, you need to go get checked out, I tell myself. Then I hear the heavy breaking of brush from the coastline. And something muffled blows to me on the breeze. Laughter, and a pretty unpleasant smell. Oh shit. Hold my rifle tight, point it threateningly at the coast. It's pretty well dark by now. Remember I brought a flashlight. Go over to my pack, laying on the deck by the stern, get it. Come back, shine it down along the sandbar. See something glint as I sweep. Swing beam back onto the gleaming thing. 2 little dots. Eyes. Fucking eyes. Something big and dark is attached to them. It's pretty damn tall. It's just standing there, halfway down the sandbar. Can't see it well, low battery and it was kind of far away. Try to tell myself it's just an animal. That's one big ass animal. Is it a bear? Human eyes don't glow in the dark, so it can't be a person. Can't hurt to shoot at it, right? Chamber around. A live round is ejected and skitters across the deck. I already chambered one on the beach. I'm a dumbass. Go prone, take aim, touch one off. If only I had had a flash hider instead of a slanted break. Blinded for what felt like an eternity. Blinking frantically in hopes of restoring my sight the whole time. Get to the point where I can see again. Frantically shine my mag light all up and down the sandbar, no eyes. Maybe I scared it off. Hear the crunching of gravelly sand below me. Somebody says, hello. Once again, it sounds a hell of a lot like me. In full panic mode, stand on the railing, point WASR over the side, mag dump. Hear and see nothing for a good long while. Settle in. Got my legs in a sleeping bag, head and arms out with WASR aimed at the portholes that lead from the hold up onto the deck. A couple of hours pass, my eyelids get heavy. Hear that laugh again, this time, it's below me. Nearly wet myself in sheer terror. Begin focusing intently. Hear small waves lapping up against the side of the barge. The tide has risen. After 10 minutes or so, begin to hear sloshing in the hold below. Something's walking around down there, and it's beginning to fill with water. There's only one direction this can go now. Up. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Hello? Scream, shut the fuck up. Shove my WASR down the porthole. Blind fire like a madman. There goes all of my ammo. Heart is hammering. Slowly back away from the porthole. Heart something clanging against metal. It's climbing the ladder. Unsheathe my bayonet. I don't know how that thing fit through the porthole, but it did. Fight or flight engages, there's nowhere to run to. Charge, screaming. It happened in a flash. The bayonet plunged into the thing. A heavy paw, or something, bitch slapped me across the chest and I went tumbling off the barge, into the drink. I now have no WASR, and I'm in the water. Play dead, lay on my back, hope it doesn't see me. Heart is pounding uncontrollably, still. Not worried about hypothermia because it's June. Slowly drift away with the current. See a hulking silhouette next to the fire as I drift off. Current dumps me on a beach a few miles east. Hike home. Never go near that place again.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.